The Galactic Council had left them to rot. That was the simple, brutal truth of it, and Ambassador Vril-Tok of the Metharian Collective knew it as surely as he knew the 7 suns of his homeworld would rise tomorrow. If they still had a homeworld by then, of course. Big if these days. 17 cycles, he muttered, watching the tactical display flicker with another wave of Krell warships. 17 cycles we've begged for aid. His aide, a young Metharian named Vril-Tok, shifted nervously beside him. The kid's bioluminescent patches were flashing anxiety patterns that probably violated about 6 workplace comfort regulations. Sir, the Council's response just came through. Let me guess, Vril-Tok said, not bothering to hide the bitterness in his voice. Thoughts and prayers? Maybe a strongly worded resolution? Oh, wait. I bet they're offering to send observers to document our extinction. You know, for the historical records. Vril-Tok's silence said everything. The Krell had been systematic about it, really. You had to admire their efficiency, in a horrifying sort of way. They'd started at the outer colonies, worked their way inward, and now the Metharian core worlds were surrounded. 3 billion souls, waiting to be erased because they'd made the catastrophic mistake of sitting on a planet rich in quarix crystals. Turns out the Krell wanted those crystals more than they cared about little things like intergalactic law or basic decency. The Council says military intervention would escalate tensions, Vril-Tok read from his datapad, and wow, if that wasn't the most pathetic string of words Vril-Tok had heard all week. They recommend diplomatic channels and, quote, patience. Patience. Vril-Tok laughed, but it came out wrong, strangled. We'll be patient corpses, then. How lovely. The bridge of the Terran Defense Station hummed with barely contained panic. Officers rushed between stations, their movements jerky with exhaustion. They'd been at battle readiness for 6 weeks straight. The Krell were playing with them now, testing defenses, probing for weaknesses. It was only a matter of time before they stopped playing and started finishing. Vril-Tok pulled up the communication logs, scanning through them one more time because apparently, he enjoyed torturing himself. The Zenithai Empire, regrettably, our forces are committed elsewhere. Translation? They didn't want to anger the Krell. The Aquarian League, we support you in spirit. Great, he'd always wanted spiritual support. Could really use some actual warships instead. The Vorten Dominion hadn't even bothered responding. And the big players, the ones with real power? They'd all found excuses. Too busy. Too complicated, too inconvenient. Sir. The tactical officer's voice cracked with urgency. Multiple Krell dreadnoughts dropping out of hyperspace. They're forming an attack formation. This was it, then. Vril-Tok straightened his ceremonial robes, a ridiculous gesture given they'd all be dead in about 6 hours, give or take. But dignity mattered, even at the end. Especially at the end. All ships, battle positions, he ordered, his voice steady despite everything. If we're going down, we go down fighting. The display showed their pitiful defense fleet, 42 ships against a Krell Armada of 300. Mathematics had never been his strong suit, but even he could do that equation. The answer was extinction. Incoming transmission, the communications officer called out. It's not from the Krell. Finally, Vril-Tok spat. Let me guess. The Council wants to remind us to fill out the proper forms before we die. No, sir. It's from Sol System. Vril-Tok froze. Sol? The humans? Now that was unexpected. The humans were newcomers, barely 50 years in the galactic community. Young species, untested, generally considered harmless by the older civilizations. They'd been quiet at the Council meetings, polite to a fault, always taking notes and asking questions like eager students. Put it through, he said, curiosity cutting through his despair. The screen flickered, and a human appeared. Female, dark skin, grey hair pulled back in a severe style. She wore a military uniform, medals across her chest. Her eyes were cold, calculating. This wasn't someone who'd come to offer sympathy. Ambassador Vril-Tok, she said, and her voice had steel in it. I'm Admiral Keiko Tanaka of the Terran Defense Fleet. We've been monitoring your situation. How nice, Vril-Tok replied, Too tired for diplomacy. Come to watch the show. Something flickered across her face. Anger, maybe. Or was it recognition? We remember what it's like, she said quietly, to be left alone when the monsters come knocking. Earth's had its share of those moments. Nobody came for us either. Vril-Tok felt something twist in his chest. Here's the thing about humans, Ambassador, Admiral Tanaka continued, and now she was smiling, but it wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who'd looked at impossible odds and decided to flip them off. We're really, really bad at watching innocent people die when we can do something about it. The tactical display suddenly lit up with new contacts, dozens of them, dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Human warships. You have got to be kidding me, Vril-Tok whispered. The Terran Defense Fleet is here, Admiral Tanaka said, and her voice rang through the bridge like a bell. And we brought friends. Time to even these odds. The Krell commander, a massive creature named Vril-Tok, was having what humans might call a very bad day. His sensor officer had just informed him that 73 human warships had materialized in the system, and they were not, as he'd initially hoped, lost tourists looking for directions to the nearest space station. Humans. Vril-Tok's mandibles clicked in confusion. What are humans doing here? They have no stake in this conflict. Unknown, Commander, his tactical officer replied, probably wishing he'd called in sick today. They're forming a defensive perimeter around the Metharian positions. This is absurd, Vril-Tok growled. Scan their ships. How advanced could they possibly be? They've been spacefaring for, 50 years? That was his first mistake. Underestimating humans was a galactic tradition, sure, but it was also a really, really bad idea. Back on the Metharian defense station, Vril-Tok was experiencing emotions he didn't have names for. Hope, maybe. Terror. Confusion. All of the above, served with a side of what the actual hell is happening right now. Admiral Tanaka, he managed, your government authorized this. The human admiral's smile widened. Define authorized. Our official position is that we're conducting routine military exercises in neutral space. Very routine. Very coincidental timing. Pelvin leaned close to Vril-Tok. Sir, I don't think routine exercises typically involve battle formation and hot weapons. You think? Vril-Tok shot back, but he couldn't stop the laugh that bubbled up. Hysterical, probably, but who cared? Admiral Tanaka's expression shifted to something serious. Ambassador, we're buying you time, but we need you to fight alongside us. Can your people do that? Could they? Vril-Tok looked around his bridge at exhausted, terrified officers who'd been counting down to their own deaths 5 minutes ago. Now they were staring at the display with something that looked suspiciously like renewed determination. Yes, he said firmly. Yes, we can fight. Good. Linking our tactical systems now. Welcome to humanity's playbook. Fair warning, we fight dirty. The Krell attacked first, because of course they did. 300 warships against a combined force of 115. Still terrible odds, but significantly less terrible than before. Vril-Tok watched his fleet surge forward, confident that superior numbers would carry the day. His second mistake. He was really racking them up now. The human ships moved wrong. That was the first thing the Krell noticed. They didn't follow standard tactical formations. They weaved and scattered, regrouped and split apart, like a school of fish evading a predator. Except these fish had teeth. What are they doing? Vril-Tok demanded as his forward dreadnoughts suddenly found themselves surrounded by smaller human cruisers that had appeared from 3 different vectors. They're using gravity wells, sir. Creating micro-jumps within the battle space. That's impossible. The calculations required would overwhelm any navigation system. His tactical officer looked up, and there was genuine fear in his eyes. Sir, I don't think their navigation systems are calculating. I think their pilots are. Human reflexes, born from a high-gravity world and a history of atmospheric flight, were doing things that computer-assisted species couldn't match. They were flying their warships like fighter jets, pulling maneuvers that should have torn the ships apart, and somehow, impossibly, surviving. A Krell dreadnought exploded, and then another. The humans weren't using conventional weapons. They were using kinetic impactors, magnetic accelerators, and something that looked suspiciously like modified mining equipment that turned out to be devastatingly effective at punching holes in heavy armor. They weaponized industrial equipment. Vril-Tok shrieked. Who does that? Humans, apparently, his aide muttered. On the Metharian flagship, Vril-Tok watched in awe as Admiral Tanaka coordinated the defense with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. An orchestra of death and explosions, but still. Metharian Third Fleet, swing wide and hit their left flank, she ordered. They'll rotate to compensate. When they do, Second Fleet jumps in behind them. Humans love a good ambush. This is insane, Vril-Tok breathed. This is absolutely insane. Welcome to humanity, Admiral Tanaka replied cheerfully. We've been running on insanity and spite since the Stone Age. It served us well. The battle raged for 6 hours. 6 brutal, chaotic, beautiful hours. The Krell kept expecting the humans to break, to retreat, to do anything that made tactical sense. Instead, when human ships took damage, they rammed Krell vessels. When they ran out of ammunition, they used their ships as shields for Metharian cruisers. One human captain, after losing all weapons and propulsion, managed to crash his dying ship directly into a Krell command carrier's bridge. His last transmission was reported to be worth it. Vril-Tok finally called the retreat when he'd lost over half his fleet and realized the humans weren't stopping. They were pursuing. Chasing his dreadnoughts like wolves after prey. Fall back. All ships, emergency jump. The Krell Armada fled, leaving behind debris and their plans of conquest. Silence fell across the battlefield. Broken only by the crackling of damaged systems and the ragged breathing of survivors who couldn't quite believe they were still alive. Ambassador Vril-Tok, Admiral Tanaka said, and her voice was gentle now, tired. The Krell won't be back. Not soon, anyway. We'll stay in system until you've rebuilt your defenses. Why? Vril-Tok asked, the question he'd been holding since the moment she appeared. Why would you risk everything for us? The Council will censure you. They might even sanction Earth. Why? Admiral Tanaka was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled, sad and fierce at once. Because someone has to. Because we've been where you are, alone and afraid, waiting for help that never came. And we decided a long time ago that if we ever had the power to help, we would. Consequences be damned. She paused, then added, besides, humans have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. We're not much for doing nothing. Vril-Tok felt something hot running down his face. Tears, he realized. When had he started crying? Thank you, he whispered. Thank you. Across the galaxy, the message spread. Humanity had defied the Council. Humanity had saved the Metharians. Humanity had looked at impossible odds and said, watch us. And the younger species, the forgotten ones, the abandoned colonies and struggling worlds, all heard the same message. We are with you. The galaxy would never be quite the same.
Hello everyone. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, don't forget to support our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We regularly upload amazing, informative, and entertaining content just for you. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring even better content in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to our growing community.